Welcome to Withdraw Consent. I'm Victor. He's Jack. So I hear a lot about, how terrible it is burning books. Don't be a Nazi because you like what happened? What books were they burning? What motivations? Like, fill me in.
Okay, this is a terrific story. Okay, so basically what had happened is, now if you want the reference for this first part, you just Google Babelplatz, Babel Platz, go to the Wikipedia entry, go to history. Because they're exposing, do you know what I'm saying? It's good, honestly. And so basically what happened is there was an event, the 10th of May, 1933.
Okay.
And a group called the German Student Association started gathering books on the 6th in the Babelplatz, which is, it's on the main district of Berlin. Okay. And basically they went to this place called the Institute of Sexology. And it's a terrible place. It was opened in 1919, I believe, closed in 1933. It was where the first transgender surgery was done. It was all types of kids experimenting with each other and just sick, disgusting thing like you can get into. But it's all the degeneracy of the Weimar Republic just condensed into one place.
Wow.
It's really terrible. So basically the kids just started pulling the books out of there. There's pornography, children's stuff, all this stuff. And they started gathering it at the Babelplatz. Well, now at the time, it wasn't the Babelplatz. Babel was actually Augusta Babel, I believe, and he was a social democrat, so a communist. So after the communists won World War II, worldwide the communists won World War II, they renamed this plaza. They used to be named after the Kaiser, though it previously had a different name, and now it's named after communists, of course. And so basically on the 10th, tons of people came. But these type of things happen in all the cities on the 10th, in a lot of the cities,
Outside of Berlin even.
Outside of Berlin.
Okay.
Yeah, it was people just wanting to just destroy trash, okay?
So, but there weren't like the sexology places all around the country.
No.
It was just like libraries and stuff they were pulling these books out from? Or?
Yeah, but people were bringing them out of their own homes. Like, here's my school book about why communism is wonderful. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And we're going to talk about the exact books they burn, and we're going to talk about whether it's okay to burn books. We're going to talk about censorship, whether censorship's good. So basically, this event is coming up, and there's tons of people there. There's spectators. There's the Nazi Student League. There's the SA, who are the brown shirts, with the truncheons. And then there's the SS and Hitler Youths there. And we're gonna show you a clip from this, and we're just gonna get all into the exact books they burn. But what do you think about censorship? We talked about it in an earlier video about Crowder and Daily Wire. What do you think about censorship?
I feel like there's like two types of censorship. There's a censorship that is you're censoring things because you're trying to hide the truth. And then there's censorship where you are trying to protect your people.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're against censorship, like just do child pornography. It's just a simple thing to do. Protect the children. Like we can all agree, right? And then from there you go on to different things. So if I could just sidetrack here. We're working on this video for our vision of the new system. And it's super complex. But one of the things we've gone against is freedom of speech. We want freedom of his speech with exceptions written out in stone, like constitutionally.
Okay.
Right? And so like one of the things is like, so you get freedom of religion, okay?
Okay.
But not Islam or Judaism. And why just those two? Why do you say people can be Christians, Hindus, Buddhists? Yeah, you could just be whatever. You could be a mystic. You could be natural American Indian stuff, whatever you want. And the reason why is because these two religions have a particular poison that the others don't.
Okay.
In Islam, it says that if you live among the infidel, then give them time to repent because Allah is oft forgiving, most merciful. But after a time has passed, make them pay the jizya or put them to the sword, which means make them pay a tax to live among you without you killing them or kill them if they don't repent. So unless we're going to make a Muslim caliphate, which if you're doing that, then of course,
sure,
Islam's allowed. But if not, it's not going to work together. They're not going to work together. And if you go to Judaism and you look in the Talmud, it says it's a sin to molest your neighbor's children unless they're goyim.
Which is?
Sheep. It's everybody who's not a Jew.
Okay.
You're not going to be able to live in my neighborhood. It's not going to work out for us, Even if you never do that, but you're like, it wouldn't be a sin if I did.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, sorry, I'm out.
Right.
And so like in the new system, just fantasize with us. In a new system, this system's overthrown, and we're talking about a new system. Do you want those two ideologies with that information I just gave you? And the answer is no. I don't want people proselytizing those. I don't want people preaching those. I don't want synagogues. I don't want mosques. And I don't want people to be allowed in the safety of their own home to follow those religions. Because you do that in your own home and then you come out and kill the infidels. It's not going to work out for me. It's just not. So censorship can be good depending on what they're censoring.
Right.
So we're going to get into what were they censoring. And then we're going to just stay tuned to the end for a thrilling, like you can't imagine how good this is going to get in the end when we find out what the Allies censor after the war. The larger book burnings. We're going to get to that and what kind of content did they burn. Okay, so I'm going to play you a clip. This is a clip from a little montage, and it's a speech by Joseph Goebbels. I don't know how to pronounce his name exactly. I don't know if anybody's. It's Joseph, I guess. Anyways, the first name. But I'm going to play you this clip now. I've edited it down to 52 continuous seconds. If you want to see the entire clip, which I can't show you on any of these platforms because then it goes into Weimar Republic degeneracy and nudity in the clip, you know? But if you want to see the entire clip, you can go to my Gab social account, to our Gab social account, Withdraw Consent, and you can see it's posted. I reposted it this morning. Okay. So it's June 25th, 2023. This video will be published in a week or two. And you can see the entire clip. I'm not going to link to it because I'm just not going to get canceled because linking nudity. I'm sorry. Right. Anyways, so we're going to play it. Goebbels is talking in German. If you don't have time to read it, just watch it. And then I'm going to read you the contents of the speech after in English. So here's the clip.
Ich übergebe dem Feuer Schriften von Karl Marx und Kautsky gegen Dekadenz und moralischen Verfall, Fürzucht und Sitte in Familie und Staat. Ich übergebe dem Feuer die Schriften von Heinrich Mann, Ernst Gläser, Erich Kästner. Ich übergebe dem Feuer die Schriften der Schule Sigmund Freud gegen Verfälschung unserer Gesichter und Herabwürdigung ihrer großen Gestalten. Deutsche Männer und Frauen, das Zeitalter eines überspitzten jüdischen Intellektualismus ist nun zu Ende.
Okay, so now I'm going to read you in English what he said. He said, I throw the books into the flames by Karl Marx and Trotsky against moral subversion and disorder, for discipline and morality in the family and the state. I give to the flames the writings of Heinrich Mann, Ernst Gläser, Erich Kästner. I give to the flames the writings by Sigmund Freud against the falsification of our history and the degradations of its great personalities. German men and women, the age of an exaggerated Jewish intellectualism has come to an end. Okay?
Okay.
So what did you think about that clip?
I think it's wonderful. It's, you go to the bookstore and you're going to find, I mean, how many books about how terrible it is to be a white person or, you know, a man being a woman, just all this stuff that is just such a distortion and brings down your people. And here's a dude who's trying to get rid of all that stuff and just uplift his people and protect them. And that's the dude you want leading you.
Yeah, I like the point you made when you saw it, because he viewed it just before we started filming, because I'm going to edit it in later. But basically, he stopped at the part where it said, against moral subversion and disorder, for discipline and morality in the family and the state. So that's what it's against, and that's what it's supporting.
Yeah, his motivation is this.
Right.
Right.
Right. And so we're going to talk briefly about just each of the people that he mentioned.
Okay.
Many more books were burned, the pornography, the sexual stuff. Karl Marx, Communist Manifesto, Das Kapital, we know him. Leon Trotsky, born Braunstein, of course. Okay. Everybody here is Jewish, I'll just let you know. Just FY.
Spoiler.
And so, yeah, spoiler. And so we know Trotsky, obviously he's in the Soviet Union, and ideals led to terrible things. So then he listed Heinrich Mann, who was a novelist. They're all leftists too. Like they're all in the communist spectrum. Kushner's not like a full communist. Heinrich Mann, communist, wrote about the servility of the German middle class.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And Ernst Gläser was a communist writer, lefter, and anti-fascist. Eric Kushner. Okay, so he was a leftist author. This is the one that wasn't full communist, but he was really into writing children's literature.
Oh.
And so I'm just going to guess where that's going. And he, like, later in life, because he fled, later in life, he's like, I was just writing children's books. Were you? There's a lot of people writing children's books today.
Right.
There's some great ones out there. You know what I mean? I've actually sought out some really great ones. There's some terrible stuff out there right now for kids. I just did that terrible thing again.
But like introducing sexuality,
Right.
And just like they're kids,
right? And I'm just a children's author. What are you really writing? Okay, Sigmund Freud. If you don't know that story, it's a long story, but he was a complete pervert. Do you know the story?
No, I don't.
Like, I mean, the dude was just a degenerate. His stuff is trash. Like, at one point, he had a friend who came to him and said, "Hey, I'm trying to sleep with my friend's underage daughter, but she doesn't really want to go with it, and he doesn't either. Could you bring them in for some psychotherapy?" So I could. He brought him in and convinced the underage girl that, like, oh, it's your repressed stuff. It's your father. You need to. Wow. Hang him.
Yeah.
Hang him. Are you kidding me? Get that girl to safety. Sigmund Freud is trash. Just trash. Anyways, and so let me say that none of these books were burned because the authors were Jewish.
Okay.
Because they were Hebrew.
Right.
That they didn't burn all books by Jews.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They burnt trash. They burnt pornography. Do you know who was in charge of the Institute of Sexology? I'll give you a guess. Okay. They burnt trash, right? And trash had made that trash. That doesn't mean all Jewish people write stuff like this, all people of Hebrew ancestry, et cetera, et cetera. So basically, what do you think about burning that type of trash?
It seems great. You're protecting your kids and community.
I was driving here and I heard an ad on the radio and they're like, so this is June 25th, we're filming this. It's still Pride Month. And they're like, hey, call this number. You could donate to, this Pride Fund. It's basically just like a Pride suicide prevention. Like, we really want to prevent kids who are LGBTQ from killing themselves. And I'm thinking, okay, yeah, don't kill yourselves. Do not kill yourselves. But they've got this mental disease where they're so distorted in their head that they're like, I'm just going to end it.
Right.
But you're pumping that disease into them.
Right.
Why can't we burn all that trash? Still prevent the kids from killing themselves, because it's really not their fault that they're messed up.
Right. They're being
There's
programmed.
there's not responsible adults in this country to go burn out all that trash. There's not a movement to push burning on all that trash,
Or parents, or just.
Yeah. And I mean, okay, if I could link into another idea here, but if you have the merging of corporate powers and state powers, that's called fascism.
Okay.
Okay. National Socialism is a system, which is what the Nazis had, is a system where corporate power is merged with government power.
Okay.
But it's not fascism. But I'm going to tell you why. In the 25 points that Hitler put forward of how he's going to run his country, one of them was he has the ability to nationalize trusts, which means just to take over corporations, right? He didn't take over the corporations. What he did was he used that authority to pressure corporations into doing what's in the best interest of the people. So he wouldn't allow a corporation to push out stuff that would cause degeneracy in children.
Gotcha.
Instead, they would be bending over backwards to push positive stuff, probably going to be burned by the Allies later, that is supporting families, tradition, two-parent homes, father in the house, all the things that are needed for a great, glorious, wonderful society. And so if you want to know more about that, I'll link you to our What is National Socialism video. Okay, so now I want to get to, I'm going to link this in the description this is from totallyhistory.com. It is not a pro-Nazi website. I'll just let you know.
Okay.
And they're like, and then the evil tyrant propagandist Joseph Goebbels said, you know what I mean? It's like that. It's like, okay, whatever, but here's under the aftermath section at the end of the article, and link in the description. It says, in an interesting aftermath to the Nazi book burnings in 1946, the process was reversed by the Allied leaders. While not performed in public, millions of books were seized from Germany and destroyed. Some 30,000 different titles with subject matter from poetry to educational publications used in schools were eliminated. Even some writings by Karl von Clausewitz were determined to be detrimental to the Allied cause. Karl von Clausewitz is the famous war tactician who is read in every major military school in every single language on this planet to this day. At West Point, they read Clausewitz because it's just fundamental strategical thinking. It's like reading, can't remember the name, the Asian guy.
The
Sun Tzu. The Art of War. It's like that type of thing, and like fundamental theory, but it's more, it's more modern. It's not modern, but it's more modern. Anyways, so basically what this means to me is that they destroyed all the stuff promoting families against homosexuality, promoting two-parent homes.
Morals.
Having lots of children, having duty to your countrymen.
Right. Or they replaced it with the garbage. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they you don't even have to replace it. You just let the garbage come back. Oh, okay. There's no force to push against it. Now you've deleted all the good stuff, And then, so anyways, if somebody asks you about the Nazi book burnings, ask them about the Allied. Okay. Oh, do I even have the number? The number of books burned was, I believe, in the area of 25,000 by the Nazis.
Like not titles, physical books.
Yeah, 25,000 physical books. And then this article says millions of books, 30,000 titles.
Okay, that's insane.
Which also means that the successful degeneracy of the Weimar Republic was done with a relatively small number of books by a small number of people ruling over a majority.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
But once the Nazis got in, it's like everybody's like, I'll take the good books. And now there's so many books to burn,
But how long does it take to go through 30,000 books? They had to have teams of people that were just like, do we burn this or not? But
the good thing is that almost all of Germany was in rubble. So there wasn't, what I'm saying? Yeah. They found millions of books. But like, there was a one point where there was this guy in America, we talked about him before, and he wrote a book saying, hey, we should just genocide all Germans. His name was Kaufman, I believe.
Nice.
And he was critically reviewed by the New York Times. What an astonishing and interesting new idea. You know what I mean? He was a Jewish guy. I'll just lay it out for you. And basically Hitler took this book, translated into German, and printed like 1 million copies or 750,000 and gave them away for free.
Wow.
Was Kaufman one of the millions of books burned?
Oh, I'm sure it wasn't.
No, but I'm sure it was. Because they're like, Germans, nobody's doing a genocide. You don't look at Eisenhower's death camps over there. Because it was propaganda used by Hitler against terrible people because it was so fundamentally terrible.
Right. Okay, I see your point.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just advocating the extermination of their people, which they then proceeded to, and
right.
You look at all the stories thereof. But I think if you look into the story, it's not at all what you originally think it is.
Oh yeah, definitely not.
Yeah, before I knew better, you see like clips like the burning, and you're like, oh wow, it's terrible. Oh, there's the Indiana Jones. Now that I think about it, do you remember? It's the third one, so it's the Grail.
Yeah,
and
at
one point he's in Nazi Germany. Remember with that blonde-haired lady who's actually a Nazi, and they're like, he's like in officer uniform, he's sneaking around the book burning, and it's just implied like, oh, they're evil, burning that pornography and child.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But it's just assumed. Well, I wonder who runs Hollywood. Oh, okay. There we go, right?
Dang.
Anyways, I think this is an interesting subject.
Right.
And I think it's valuable to know about it. We've got some links in the description if you want to check out more. You're welcome to, If you know something we don't,
yes,
I'm interested. I could only find one other for sure author that not for sure. Wikipedia's only listed one other name than the ones in Goebbels' speech, And if you know more, I'd be very interested in knowing.
Yeah.
Like what else were they burning? I guarantee it was trash.
Right.
And also, I feel like there's an implication that they were burning Bibles or something.
See, that was my thought. Like hearing this growing up, they were burning Bibles.
Yeah. If they had burned Bibles, they would alienate such a massive percentage of the population. There was this, I believe he was Protestant. He might have been Catholic, but he was a minister. And he was in, I think he was in Berlin. And every week from the pulpit, he gave his sermon. And then he said, Hitler's trash. This dictatorship's trash. I don't care how prosperous. We're doing it. You know what I mean? And he preached against Hitler every week. And Hitler's guys came to him and said, dude, we can get rid of this dude. And Hitler said, no, religion's not my thing. He wrote it in his book, Mein Kampf. He said, I can be a religious reformer, or I can be a political reformer. I can only do one. And he chose one path. You can't alienate religious people unless you're doing a religious reformation, which he was not doing.
Right.
You guys do your thing. Burning Bibles would have been political suicide.
Totally.
Because when he's getting these polls and he's like getting 98 point something percent of the population to affirm his decision that he's seeking to do, he's doing it because everybody's so prosperous. Everybody's so happy. You can't take, even say, just say 30% of the population and burn their Bibles.
Right.
It's probably higher than 30.
Yeah.
But I'm just being conservative. You can't do that and then get away with 98 point something percent of the polls.
Right.
Which, if you want to argue that, the League of Nations was monitoring those polls and came back 100% legitimate. They said they were looking to make up a lie about how those were fake.
Right.
And they just weren't. Everybody was so happy. Lloyd George said it. These are the happiest people on the face of the planet.
Yeah.
You know, and one of the ways they got happy is by destroying all the trash around them that was ruining their children. That's where we're at.
Okay. I have one thought about this. Just we were talking about censorship right at the beginning and whether it's good or bad. One of the issues I had early on was reconciling something that I had been, I don't know, brainwashed, just trained that how important free speech was in the First Amendment, that type of thing, and reconciling that with censorship. And I'm still slowly working my way through Mein Kampf. And, he has a section in there where he's talking about these ideals that people take, and they hold on to the ideals past the point of where it's good for the people. And it's really hard to untrain yourself if you have decades of, freedom of speech is the most important thing.
Right.
No, the people are the most important thing.
Right.
And you can't sacrifice them for an ideal. Like it's...
Right.
So just something to think about. And it's tough early on when you first hear that censorship could be good.
Right. And we have top book here, Plato's Republic, behind me. And Plato said in that book, he said, when you're in a democracy, you will get to a point where you are so free that people will beg for control. They will beg for tyranny. And not a bad tyranny. They will always want a good tyranny, because the reason why is because absolute freedom leads to absolute anarchy.
Right.
People are doing things to your children. No, we need laws against people doing things to your children. We need people dragged away. Teachers. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, say you're like, what's the duty of a doctor not to touch his patient while they're under anesthesia compared to a teacher? The teacher has the highest onus of, do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's this highest standard should be put on the teacher over anybody else, because our children, for goodness sakes, and our women don't touch people at a doctor's office,
Right.
But
corrupting children is...
And we're just like, no, just do what you want to the children.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Right.
Which is why my kids are homeschooled. And I still pay taxes for the public education system. Wild. America.
All right. Do you have any thoughts about any of this? We'd love to hear your opinions on censorship or book burnings. Did you learn anything? We'd love to hear about it. We publish new content Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern. And we have 2 videos coming out later on this week that we hope you check out. They're going to be a little controversial. First one, we're going to claim that everyone watching this video is a eugenicist. So we're going to go into what the word means and just how you're not actually thinking about it maybe correctly. And then Thursday, we're going to be talking about abortion. And Jack's going to present an argument that you've probably never heard. I've never heard it. And it's a really interesting way to look at abortion. And basically, we're going to claim that everyone is arguing the wrong points about abortion. So please join us, check it out, and we'll hope to see you then.